it leaked yesterday that Coca-Cola is part of their sort of, I don't know, what is it? Is it the part of their onboarding, I'm guessing, documents where they have every job for the most part has a, required a get up to date on what our policies are. You need to watch this, take this little short exam, but all right, now you're ready to actually work for us. So part of these documents highlight that there are some things that you are, of course, going to be required to watch that recently broke about Coca-Cola. Now, if you're watching us live, you can actually see the screen. A whistleblower leaked this information. And you see that it says a couple of things like right here is confronting racism, understanding what it means to be white, challenging what it means to be racist. Okay. Here's another one. It says to be less white is to be less oppressive, less arrogant, less certain, be less defensive, be less ignorant, be more humble, listen, believe, break with apathy, break with white solidarity. Okay, so this is interesting because this has nothing to do with the job that you're filling via Coca-Cola, but it's so interesting how they basically what they're saying is to be white is to be this. So if you're white, you're inherently oppressive, which is, again, literal racism. I know they try to redefine what the damn term racism means, but it's literal racism, where you're basically saying that, hey, this is what it means to be white, and to be less of it means to be less of this because, hey, being white means to be ignorant, defensive, arrogant, oppressive, and all of that sort of stuff is, which is interesting. Very, very interesting. What does this say here? In the U.S. and other Western nations, white people are socialized to feel they're inherently superior. No, they're not, because they're white. Okay, no, I actually agree with that. The way I agree with that is that white leftists give themselves power that they don't have. So they perpetuate this idea that, yeah, you're inherently superior. It's like that one little corny pencil neck ass white dude with the glasses and the hat backwards that was sitting here talking about, basically you're oppressive as white, when the guy would probably break his wrist if he tried to punch anything or press anything for that matter. But they give themselves this sort of power that they don't have. So I'd agree with that. Just it's not the same conclusion that they're coming to because they believe that just white people, I guess, just come out the womb. But I think that's reserved for white leftists because I've never really met any like just regular white people that are just like, yeah, man, I'm superior because I'm white. Aside from white leftists, that's it. And racist people, like blatantly, like actual racists, not like, Nazi when a leftist calls you that. That didn't mean anything. But there are like 2 or 3 Nazis that may live in the U.S., maybe 3. 2 is pushing it, but maybe 3 of them that actually exist. And those guys actually do feel like they're superior. It's just not enough of them for it to be even relevant or to act as if there's a boogeyman behind the behind like the corner. Says also research shows that by age 3 to 4, children understand it is better to be white. Yeah, again, they're saying basically some things that I don't disagree with necessarily, but they taught them that, right? And then not racist people taught them that. No, they taught themselves that because you got these like weird activists, social justice activists who need that narrative to be true. So what they do is they tell everybody it is. Like I say, it's always these pencil neck white dudes who go around lecturing everybody, telling how people they're how they're superior to so many people. And like I said, like you're gonna be. I just don't. For one, I don't believe you. I know you think of yourself highly, that you think just because you're white you own the world, but no, that's not how it works. But they need that to be true because, well, that's what it. That's all they have to hold on to. See what Carlin says here, and I believe she was on Glenn Beck not too long ago talking about this, if I'm not mistaken. But the interesting thing about all of this is what she was saying. Like, you gotta understand, this is not only being used on Coca-Cola because of where it was housed. This is for sure being used by other companies as well. So they are showing them this sort of propaganda in order for you to work with them. And it's conditioning. It's more so what it is. It's conditioning. Let's just call it what it is, because that has absolutely nothing to do with facilitating like a proper work environment or anything like that. You're just basically telling people that, oh, well, you're white, therefore bad, be less bad. And it's like, dude, who the hell died and made you the superior being. Like it's self, man, I almost said another term that probably would have got them video demonetized. Let's say that let's say that they think of themselves very highly and they made that up though. It's a conjured up narrative that isn't real. Okay? It's not a thing. It's one of those things that they need to speak into existence. And it's interesting to see so many loser ass white folk that will act as if they are superior for whatever reason. And you're not. You're simply not. I know that feels good and it gives you this opportunity to signal, hey, look at me, I'm one of the good guys. But you also need to understand that you're a loser, right? So when I see some scrawny pencil neck white dude sit up here and be like, I'm superior, I'm laughing at you because I know that one, like I've always say, generally, I'm always going to be way better looking than these guys, going to be way more athletic than these guys. And yeah, that's just more what it is. Most times I'm going to be able to outwit them, so from an intellectual standpoint and from a monetary standpoint, like, not everybody, of course, but generally these loser ass white people, these college age crackheads that sit up here and pile up all these debt. No, you're going to have a hard time convincing me that you're actually the oppressor here. No, I don't believe you. But the propaganda, if you will, the conditioning has conditioned them to believe that that's the case. So it doesn't surprise me that we're seeing it manifest itself in ways throughout, kind of current employment, because that's the end thing to do right now. I don't necessarily work for anybody, so I don't experience anything. Everything that I do that I make money off of is directly from the consumers that watch my material, patrons and people that offer, and the services that I offer would be the ghost writing, the voice acting, or stuff like that. Like, it's all contract work. So I don't work for really anybody per se to where I'm like having to do stuff like that. Onboarding documents, that part of my life is no more. But it's interesting to see that that's where we're at now. So I'd be willing to bet I'd probably have to see some stupid stuff like that if I did enter that sector again. But holy crap, when I read this, it's not surprising, but it is one of those things where you're like, wow, how far have we come? Fire Fauci, by the way, is trending on it's trending on Twitter. They're going to erase that very soon, but it's trending on Twitter. I know this has nothing to do with the video, but hardly ever does Twitter actually put something on the what's happening that's like bad for a mainstream left. Usually it's always something. So this will be taken off. This won't be here probably, and I'll refresh it and it probably won't be there. It hardly ever happens on Twitter. They're going to make sure I'm pretty sure some dude over there at the office like, oh my, take it down. No, he's fucking working hard as hell. No, that has nothing to do with the video, or rather the segment. I do apologize. But yes, if you're working for some of these bigger companies, you need to be less white. They say, whatever that means. Well, we know what it means. It's just kind of silly that they conflate that with being white. But yeah, listening to white leftists give themselves superiority is just such a fascinating thing to me because they're losers.